The deer gun season in North Dakota opens Friday, November 10th at noon Central Time. Today we're visiting with Game Warden Supervisor Joe Lucas to go over some of the common violations during the season. I'm Mike Anderson with the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. Joe, the deer gun season in North Dakota still has a lot of interest, probably one of the more popular seasons we have.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people out in the field. It's definitely the peak of our fall hunting in North Dakota.
Let's go over some of the common violations. First of all, it's a requirement to wear blaze orange.
Right. Yeah, it is state law to have at least 400 square inches of blaze orange above the waist, as well as an orange head covering or hat. Even after they've harvested their animal, we definitely want to make sure people are still wearing that blaze orange until they get back to their vehicle. We understand hunters may get sweaty and warm gutting their animal and packing it out, but for safety purposes, we want to make sure that they wear it the entire hunt so that they don't get mistaken for an animal.
If you harvest a deer, and you have the legal right to be where you harvest this deer, what happens if they land on posted land?
Sure, so if you do shoot a deer where you can legally hunt and it does end up on posted land, you do have a legal right to retrieve that animal, and that does have to be unarmed. You're not allowed to continue to pursue that animal, so if it's wounded, that'll be a situation where you need to get permission prior to doing so. Even if the animal is dead, we recommend reaching out to the landowner and just letting them know what's going on, just so that there's not confusion out there.
And if there is confusion, then what?
Call a game warden and we'll try and help sort through it.
Just in general, besides blaze orange, what are some of the other things you guys deal with as game wardens?
Sure. I guess one of the big ones during the deer gun season, driving off trail or use of a motor vehicle off a trail, as well as tagging violations.
Okay, let's go over some of those.
Sure.
What does the off trail mean?
Yeah, so anytime a hunter's in pursuit of a big game animal, they need to keep their motor vehicle on an established trail. So the only time a hunter can drive off of an established trail is once they have harvested an animal and that animal is tagged. Then they can take a direct route off of that established trail to load their animal and then back to said trail.
Joe, oftentimes public lands like wildlife management areas are restricted for off-trail. Do you need permission to go off-trail on private lands?
If the land is posted to be driving off-trail to retrieve their game, yes, you would.
Okay. How about if you harvest that deer, what's the first thing you need to do?
Right. So the first thing upon harvesting an animal, you're legally required to tag it. That comes before field dressing, taking photos. We want to make sure that the first thing people are doing is validating their tag by cutting out the date and then placing that tag on the animal.
Okay, and you need to keep your carcass tag with you.
Correct. Yes, anytime you're transporting the meat, you do need to keep your carcass tag with you as well.
Joe, if I am hunting with my son or daughter or any relative or friend, and a lot of times they're going one direction, I'm going the other direction, what are the transportation rules and regulations?
So everybody has to transport their own deer. The only way that you could transport another's deer is if you do get a transportation permit. Our game wardens have those, as well as some local law enforcement, but that is something that you do need to get a transportation permit prior to transporting another's deer from the field.
Joe, how about section lines and road rights of way?
Sure.
Am I able to hunt those?
Sure. So section lines, they are open for public travel, but that does not mean that they're open for public hunting. For instance, if the land is posted on both sides of a section line, that posting does go up into the center of the section line. So if you had permission to hunt that property, you could, but otherwise it is just for travel.
And we really, with the moisture we've had, we really want to be careful not to rip up muddy trails.
Right.
Our section lines.
Right, absolutely. We always encourage hunters, if the conditions are wet like this, to not be taking those dirt 2 tracks and tearing them up, because they're not the only ones that use those trails.
Going off trail or doing another violation, what should I do as a hunter if I see a violation?
The first thing is just get as much information as you can. A description of the violation, vehicle descriptions are a good one. If you're able to get a license plate, that definitely helps our game wardens a lot. But the next step would be to call the North Dakota Report All Poachers hotline at 701-328-9921. And they'd be able to relay that information that you're seeing to the nearest available game warden.
What happens if I see a wounded deer?
First thing would be to call your local game warden. They might be able to give you instruction from there as far as what to do, or they may have to come and investigate that further.
How about posting regulations?
So in North Dakota, landowners can post their land two ways, with the physical posting with the signs. they can also post it electronically. So hunters need to make sure before they go onto a property that it isn't posted one of those two ways, with either the physical signs in the field or by going onto one of our electronic databases and making sure the property isn't electronically posted.
Joe, we can't cover all the rules and regulations for the deer gun season. It's a good idea to read the regulations before you head out.
Absolutely. Yeah, we always recommend hunters just brush up on the regulations by going through either the deer hunting guide or the deer proclamation.
Respect landowners and their property.
So we want to make sure that when hunters are out there that there are still farmers out harvesting this time of year, making sure that we're not parking vehicles in a way that's going to get in the way of farming equipment.
If you open a gate.
And if you open a gate, make sure you close it behind you, because that is in state law, you do have to close the gate behind you if you do open it while hunting.
Most important thing is to get home safe to your family and have a good time.
Absolutely. That's our #1 goal, is make sure everybody has a safe and successful deer season.